Yo! What's up, everybody? UnrivaledFX here. Today we're going to be looking at Cinema4D and how to get started in it. If it's your first time, don't worry, we're going to be gentle. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. And don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button on your way. Without further ado, let's get into the Cinema4D Beginner's Guide for Noob. So, boom! You opened up Cinema4D and now you're like, what's going on? I have no idea where I am or what happened. I just see a lot of buttons I can click. Alright, let me go ahead and break down what you need to know first, and that's how to move the camera. You can roll the mouse and that'll move you forward and backwards, but that's about it. To actually control the camera and get different perspectives, you're going to have to go up top. There's 3 little buttons you're going to want to click. Each one represents a different form of moving the camera. You got the basic move, then you got the whole dolly going in and out, and then you got the rotation on the third one. Another trick you're allowed to use is your keypad. 1, 2, and 3 do the same thing. 1 is to move, 2 is to dolly in and out, and 3 is to go ahead and rotate it. And these are kind of your basic camera movement controls and how to do it. You're also allowed to do something where you get 4 perspectives. By clicking the mouse wheel button in, you get these 4 different modes. Each one of them represents a different kind of angle, like maybe a top angle, a side angle. But you're also allowed to go ahead and control the objects or anything you have from these viewpoints as well. So if you needed to shape something or just move something around, you can do it from a different angle. To get out of this mode, all you have to do is click the mouse button again, and it'll take you back to your perspective mode. And now that we got the basics of moving the camera around, let's go ahead and add some objects, baby! And to add those objects, all you gotta do is go click on the little cube, and you can hold down for basic shapes, and it'll give you a little list. So let's go ahead and just click on the cube. And now we get into the whole messing with the objects and moving them around. So we have 2 options. One, we can use the object path and change the values and move it that way. Right now, let's go ahead and change the values and make it a little bit smaller. So it's at about 50-50-50. But another option we can use is up here up top is all these buttons you see. These are actually like the object moving buttons. So the first one is move, and that looks like a little cross. It lets you move it through the 3D space. The next one is for scaling. Now when you click this one, if you click a certain coordinate, you will increase the value of that coordinate. So X, Y, and Z are all manipulated differently. But if you go ahead and click outside of the coordinates, so you're not clicking X, Y, or Z, you're just clicking outside, you'll scale them up uniformly. And last but not least, we got the rotation tool. This allows you to rotate in any direction and turn it on any side you'd feel like. For example, you can make an animation where you throw in them dice and they land on whatever you want. So let's go ahead and click on plane and add one of those. And that's just kind of a surface material that can be used as a wall, a ground, whatever you want. It's more of a surface though. We're going to go ahead and just use it like a rough ground, just for some separation purposes. And now that we got everything kind of placed on top and how we want it, let's go ahead and jump into the next step, and that's creating a material. So what you want to do is go ahead and just click create, and then it'll bring up a tab and you click new material. Now that we got our materials started, let's go ahead and edit the values. I would suggest going to the RPG values because the RPG makes it a little bit easier to adjust the color. But let's go ahead and go for like kind of a greenish tone. But it's as simple as just choosing the bars, scaling, and finding the color you want. Once you got the color found, all you have to do is click and drag the material onto the object you want to place it. And as you can see, there's a lot of different options like reflection, transparency, and all that, but that just creates what the texture looks like. You can make something that's like glass or metal or plastic. You have a bunch of different options by changing these values. You can also load in what they call texture maps to make realistic, almost photo looking textures and add them to your scene as well. If you want to see how to do that, go ahead and add in the comments below and we'll make a tutorial about how to add real textures to your scene. So back to what we're doing, let's go ahead and drag that material on our object and you can see it's already appeared colored. And let's go ahead and make another material, and this one let's go ahead and make for the ground. We'll just make it kind of a brown dirtish ground and make it nice and simple. Now that we've got our materials added, we need to add a light, because when you go to render it out, if there's no light, there's no render. So let's go ahead and take a look and click on the light bulb, and we get this little light thing. We'll move it around and adjust it so we can get the shadows we want on our objects. You can rotate it, you can move it just like a regular object, change its kind of direction of light, and that's how you just change up the shadows on it, nice and easy. You can also change the different types of lights. You can have a direct light that's facing like we see. There's also a sphere light that is kind of just an illuminating glow. And if you're really feeling like changing up the color of the lights, you can do that as well. That way you can change the mood to whatever you feel like. And next we're going to take a quick look at the camera. The camera is pretty simple. It places wherever you add it into the scene. So if you're at a certain view and you add a camera, it's going to lock into that view you were at last. To turn the camera on and off, it's pretty simple. All you gotta do is click this little white box and it'll put you back into the camera's view, and clicking it again will go ahead and take you out of it for free mode. Now as you can see, now we're adjusting the camera's viewpoint while we're in the camera. So this will lock a new viewpoint in, and then when we click the box again, we'll be able to change our viewpoint without adjusting the camera. So we got our camera, we got our lights, objects, materials, but something still don't feel right. So let me go ahead and explain what that is. We have to go ahead and render next. Rendering is what gives it that final finished product look. It adds the lights and the textures and the shadows, and then everything, as you can see, has a different look to it. Now the textures aren't the only thing that make a difference. You also need to go ahead and check your render settings by clicking the little film with the gear icon, and what this allows you to do is to change the resolution of your video. This makes it for more high quality or 4K materials or textures, and now represent that. So if you click Control R after that, it'll take you to the actual render, what your render looks like, and that's when you see with the black background and everything looks more finished. You also see the light is turned off when you do it like this. You can turn it so the light stays on when you render, and by that I mean it's visible directly, but usually you just want the lighting source and you don't want the actual seeing of the light. So we've thrown a lot of knowledge at you today. We learned how to move the camera, we learned how to move objects, we learned how to add materials, add lights, add a camera. So you learned how to do all that really quick. You did a great job. And for the next tutorial that'll be coming soon, make sure to like and subscribe. Yee!